because now I get to introduce the great Vice President of the United States. It is his honor. It is his Marine, and I'm making him wait just a minute. It is Mr. Vice President. He is ready to hear.
You did a hell of a job. Thank you. Well, thank you, Doug. You're doing a great job at the VA, and I want to say just a couple of things. I've learned a couple of things from working so closely with the President of the United States. The first thing is that he loves our nation's veterans and has committed our nation's administration to putting our veterans first every single day. And the second thing I've learned about the President of the United States is that he really hates when somebody who's speaking before him goes on for too long. And so with that in mind, I have prepared a very brief and very inspiring 1 hour and 45-minute speech on this beautiful Veterans Day out here in the cold. But let me just give 3 very brief messages. First, to our nation's veterans, thank you. Thank you for serving and sacrificing. We've all got so many good stories of people that we served with over the years.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a moment to pause, to reflect, and to talk about something that truly matters, our veterans. This video is about gratitude, honor, and the courage of the men and women who have worn the uniform of the United States of America. If you're watching this and you've ever served in our nation's military, I want to start by saying something very simple but deeply heartfelt. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice.
During my 4 years of the Marine Corps, I met the very best of America, people who are willing to put on a uniform and risk their lives for their entire country. Just yesterday morning, I met people who lost limbs, who lost very, very important family members, who lost their psychological health, going out there and serving the United States of America. So whether you gave a little bit or whether you gave a lot, every single person who put on the uniform of this nation deserves our gratitude on this day especially, but every day. And so from the Vice President and the entire administration to our nation's veterans, thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for making us proud every single day. The second message is to the nation's political leaders. I happen to believe that the most valuable resource that we have isn't the incredible wealth of natural resources of this country, as amazing as it is. The most important natural resource that we have is that we have hundreds of thousands of young people every single month who sign up to put on the uniform and risk their lives for their fellow citizens. That is a resource we cannot squander. That is a resource we must protect. And so to every elected official who's here today, our obligation, our sacred responsibility to our veterans is to make sure that the American military is the bravest and best fighting force anywhere in the world, and to make sure that every time we ask our nation's military to go off to war, we give them the training, we give them the resources, and we give them what they need to kick the enemy's rear end and to come back home safely and quickly. That is our obligation to you. And my third and final message to the American people, I'm asked all the time how to best honor our veterans. And this day in particular gives you an opportunity, and it doesn't have to be difficult and it doesn't have to be complicated. If you find yourself at a restaurant this evening and you see somebody wearing a uniform, buy them a meal if you're able, or buy them a beer. If you see a veteran of our nation's armed forces, if you know somebody in your family, give them a call and say thank you. I heard already this morning from my mother-in-law who sent me a message early California time, and it touched my heart. Just knowing that we have loved ones who recognize our service, who care about it, and who care enough to go out and say thank you. So to the American people, if we want to keep on ensuring that the very best and brightest sign up for our military, the very best way to do it is to make sure that the veterans know that we are grateful to them. And so it's with great pride that I am introducing a man who is proud of our veterans, who fights every single day for the veterans, and who is proud to be the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, President Donald J. Trump.
and thank you for showing the rest of us what it truly means to love this country. Veterans Day isn't just another date on the calendar. It's not just a long weekend or a time for sales and barbecues. It's a sacred day. A day when we as Americans pause to remember that the freedom we enjoy every single day didn't come cheaply. It was earned. It was defended. It was paid for by brave men and women who put on that uniform knowing full well the risks, but willing to take them anyway. Every veteran's story is different. Some served in times of peace, others in times of war. Some came home safely, and others gave everything they had. But what unites them all is a shared sense of duty. A belief that America is worth defending, worth fighting for, and yes, even worth dying for. That belief is what has kept this country strong for nearly 250 years. I think about the Vice President's words in his Veterans Day speech, about how our nation's veterans represent the very best of who we are. And that's true. When you look into the eyes of someone who's served, you see courage. You see discipline. You see honor. You see the kind of character that holds this nation together when times get hard. Veterans remind us that freedom isn't guaranteed. It's preserved, generation after generation, by those willing to step forward and say, "Send me." And today we honor them all. We honor the soldier standing watch in a faraway land. We honor the Marine who led his brothers and sisters through fire. We honor the sailor out at sea, the airman soaring through the clouds, and the guardian protecting the skies above. We honor the families, the mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, who prayed every night for their loved one's safe return. Because service doesn't happen in isolation. It touches entire families. It changes entire lives. When we say, "Thank you for your service," it shouldn't just be words. It should be a promise that we will care for those who cared for us. That means making sure every veteran has the support, the medical care, and the respect they deserve when they come home. It means helping them find jobs, rebuild their lives, and heal the invisible wounds that many carry long after the uniform comes off. There's something else I want to emphasize today. The Vice President said that America's greatest natural resource isn't our oil, or our land, or even our technology. It's our people. And I couldn't agree more. The strength of this country has always come from ordinary Americans who choose to do extraordinary things. Every young man and woman who raises their right hand and takes that oath becomes part of something bigger than themselves. They become part of a legacy, a chain of courage and service that stretches back through generations. In a world that often feels divided, our veterans are living proof that unity is still possible. They came from every background, every belief system, every corner of America. They didn't ask who was a Democrat or who was a Republican. They stood shoulder to shoulder, united by one flag, one mission, and one nation. That's the America we need to remember. That's the America we need to keep building. When I think about what we owe our veterans, I think about more than just parades and ceremonies. Those are important, yes, but real gratitude is something deeper. It's how we treat people every day. It's about teaching our kids what service really means. It's about looking at that flag and remembering that the red stands for sacrifice, the white for purity, and the blue for perseverance. Every stripe and every star has a story behind it. And many of those stories were written in courage and blood. If you ever wonder how to honor a veteran, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as saying thank you, buying someone a meal, or listening to their story. Sometimes that's all it takes. A few kind words to remind someone that what they did mattered. Because it did. It matters more than we can ever say. I remember something a friend of mine, a retired soldier, once told me. He said, "The hardest part isn't the battlefield. It's coming home and feeling like people have forgotten what you fought for." That hit me hard. Because the truth is, it's easy to take freedom for granted when you've never had to fight for it. But our veterans remind us every day that freedom demands vigilance, courage, and care. So, to every veteran watching this, you are not forgotten. You are seen. You are appreciated. And this country stands because of you. From the beaches of Normandy to the deserts of the Middle East, from the jungles of Vietnam to the mountains of Afghanistan, you have carried the torch of liberty higher and farther than anyone else could. You are the reason our children wake up free. You are the reason our flag still waves. And to my fellow Americans, this Veterans Day, let's make a commitment. Let's commit to being a nation worthy of the sacrifices that were made for us. Let's commit to being good citizens, not perfect, but grateful, thoughtful, and united in purpose. Let's commit to remembering that the freedoms we debate and the privileges we enjoy were paid for by people who didn't know if they'd ever make it home. There's something powerful about gratitude. It heals. It humbles. It reminds us that no matter our differences, we are all beneficiaries of the same gift, the gift of freedom. And that gift was bought by the men and women we honor today. Veterans Day should also be a day of reflection, a day to ask ourselves, what are we doing with the freedom they fought for? Are we using it wisely? Are we standing up for what's right, for justice, for compassion, for the kind of nation that makes their sacrifice worthwhile? Those are hard questions, but they're important ones. Because the best way to honor our veterans is to live in a way that makes them proud. That I want to share a story that's always stayed with me. Years ago, I met an older veteran at a community event. He had served in Korea and Vietnam. He told me, "The medals are nice, but what I really want is for people to remember why we served." That's what Veterans Day is all about, remembering why they served. It wasn't for recognition. It was for us. It was for America. We owe it to them to remember that this country, for all its challenges, is still something worth believing in. The ideals of liberty, equality, and justice aren't just words in a document. They are promises paid for by real people with real lives. So, today, take a moment to thank someone who served. Take a moment to look at the flag and let it remind you of the cost of keeping it flying. Take a moment to appreciate that we get to wake up free. Not because freedom is easy, but because brave Americans made sure it endures. As we wrap up this message, I just want to say this. To our veterans, to our active duty service members, to the families who support them, we see you, we thank you, and we honor you. You are the heartbeat of this nation. You are the reason the stars and stripes mean something. And no matter how much time passes, America will always be grateful. If you're watching this and you want to do something more, reach out to a veteran organization in your area. Volunteer, donate, listen, support. Sometimes the smallest actions make the biggest difference. And if you're someone who served, from all of us here, thank you. Thank you for standing when others sat. Thank you for believing when others doubted. Thank you for reminding us that freedom isn't free. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear these words. And most importantly, take a moment today to say thank you to a veteran. It might seem small, but it can mean the world. God bless our veterans. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America.